Hey there, welcome. It's Karen Lanou from No Limits Businesswoman, and I'm just outside with my boys, Chili and Pepper. There's a barbecue going on at one of the neighbors down below, and so there's lots of noise and good smells. And so if you hear my dogs bark, that's why. Anyways, that's not why I'm getting on the live with you today. I wanted to get on the live with you today because I want to ask you: are you limiting yourself? And chances are the answer is yes, even though you might not think you are. Because, here, I'll give you the back story to this as to why I'm talking about this today. The other day I had put a post up in both my private profile and on in my group. And see, there's Pepper. Hold on. I got my handy. When he's far away, I get him with water, make him stop. Kind of. Anyways, the question was, hey, when you were growing up, what were the rich people, or what did the rich people thing have that you didn't have, or it wasn't the question, but it's kind of like, what do you think that rich people had? What made them rich? And so lots of people said they had, they went on trips to Hawaii, or they went on vacations, they had a house, or they had a car, or they, there's all kinds of things. But one of the questions that came up, or one of the answers that came up was very telling, and a shout out to the gal, and she knows who she is, about who posted her answer. But she had decided that she thought, from the people that the rich people that she knew in her youth, is that because they weren't happy. There was all kinds of divorces, they were just unhappy, those kinds of things. And so she'd made the decision that she was always going to just have enough. And that's great if it's a decision, if it's a decision based on kind of reality. And so that was her reality, and that's her reality of the experiences that she saw. But the fact is that we make decisions based on what we see other people do, and it's a very small sample size. It's only very few people, and so it becomes our reality, and we make it our reality, and therefore it is limiting. Look, I've had the great fortune of knowing knowing a number of rich people from the area that I lived in as I was growing up, and some people, yeah, I would never want to be like them. But there was a lot of people who were very good people, had really good lives. They were happy. They had great families. They were in love. They just were good people, and so I got to see the fact that being rich was not a bad thing. Having money was not a bad thing. Yet so many people make that distinction. It's like, no, I don't want to be like that. Here's the thing, though, is that it's just all energy, and so money only makes you more of who you are and what you are. And so when we limit ourselves, that, if we make the distinction that, oh, I'm basing the rest of my life based on what I saw from a few people, and maybe it could be 10, it could have been 20 people. It's still, in the grand scheme of things, of the billions of people that live on Earth, and the millions of millionaires, that's a very small sample size. Again, you're not making a decision based on the full reality with all the information, and so that's just one thing. What I find so often is that people, and we all do this, right? It's like we come up with these assumptions, or we've learned these things when we're really young, that, oh, this is the way it is, and then we build our life based on that. For me, if you've heard me talk about this before, I think it was probably about 4 or 5. I saw my parents get into a fight, and I just decided that I was going to be a good girl. I was always going to be a good girl. Well, there's repercussions of that, right? There's repercussions of, because as being the good girl, I didn't confront things, and I kind of started, what happened is I ended up getting walked all over, and so people would take advantage of me, and I lived my life for decades like that, and it really didn't get me what I wanted out of my life. Now, doesn't mean I can't be a good person. It just means that decision was a limiting belief, and it didn't allow me to connect in the moment with it, and be aware of what's going on and make decisions based on what is going on right now, as opposed to reacting based on a decision I made when I was really young. Now, this is how it affects us again in our life and our business is, again, as it limits us. So if we're not having if we're not achieving the things that we want, it's likely that you have a limiting belief. And there's ways to get rid of that. But I want you to start to look at, what are your beliefs about the things that they're currently not working for you in your life or business. And I 100% would say that there's a limiting belief behind that. So I'm going to leave that with you. And I want to let you know also, you can change this. This can be changed. I often change people's limiting beliefs in seconds and blow their minds, and it's always an amazing process to see. And what happens is that they change and they get to go on and live their life in an entirely different way from, again, the years, the decades in many cases that they've been living and having limited themselves. So it can be done. It can be done quickly. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time, but that's okay. Once you learn the tools, you always have them. And but again, if you having outside perspective, having somebody help you do that and being able to pinpoint and say, hey, that's a limiting belief. There is nothing that's going to change your life more than to be able to find somebody or have somebody help you to do that. And I can help you to do that. That's what I do in my No Limits Mastermind. And so if you're ready to actually finally make some changes and stop limiting yourself, then message me. Let's talk. Because I will go back inside sooner or later, and even though it's a beautiful afternoon, but I'm happy to take calls. I have time this weekend, or if you're seeing this in the future, just message me and we'll set it up. We'll set up a time to chat. Again, just don't settle. Stop settling. Boy, it makes me so frustrated when I see people settle, and I don't want that for you. I know that there is more for you right now. All right, have a great day, and I will see you soon.